te whatalofa ma whawhelo i atu. I loto pa ia ma loto malu. Mai le nei fwoi whapoponga o le tātou pokalama o le Samoa Matters. Welcome once again to another episode of Samoa Matters. And let me start by saying that a member of the Samoan diaspora once asked what the Samoan words are for the left and right, as in left hand, right hand, or left side, and right side. First, and simply stated, right is Taumatau, and left is Tauagavale. So right is Taumatau, and left is Tauagavale. Or in the case of Tauagavale, it's just Agavale, kind of a short form or version of Tauagavale. It's just Agavale. Now, that's in the so-called T style or T pronunciation, T method, versus the K style, K method or pronunciation, where you would have, in this case, with Taumatau, you just replace the T with the K. And so you would have the K version of Taumatau. That's the T style, and that's the K style. And now I should be explaining these particulars of the language in a future video, but for now, suffice it to say that the T style is the more formal one used in writing and in official documents and formal settings when giving an address or speech, whereas K is used more in the colloquial and vernacular everyday speech. Oratorical speeches lean more to the K style. Now, although I'm going to use the two interchangeably, my preference is with the K style, at least in the context of parsing and analyzing of the words. The reason being that the K style represents the more original, if not the original, part of the Samoan language and other Polynesian languages for that matter. Here's a personal opinion, and likely of that of many others, that if you speak Samoan using the K style, more often than not, you are closer to being a native or Maori genuine speaker. Now back to the words. It's always good to know the basic translations of these words and other common words, but it's even more important and more inspiring to know how these words came about, their etymologies and origins, which is what Samoa Matters tries to promote and teach. Perhaps also, as I have said previously, that the more you understand the language, the better you understand the culture. And understanding usually brings appreciation. Let me start with Taumatau or Komakau first, and then Tauagavale and Agavale after. But let me, if I may, tell a joke, for good measure at least. Please don't laugh too hard. Some or many of you may have already heard it. So there was this father and son who were traveling on a bus from the village on their way to town. And while the bus was traveling along this coastal scenic beach road, the son saw a canoe, and he asked his dad in Samoan, "Tama, what is the English word for that boat?" And right away the father said, "Son, ol canoe mela, that thing is a canoe." The son nodded, and the bus arrived in town, and the son saw these two huge ships at the wharf, at the port, and he asked his dad again, "Tama, what is the English word for those big ships?" Pointing to them. The dad did not know, but he pretended he knew, so he squinted hard, as if trying to remember, but finally said, "Son, those are all canoes." Now, if you didn't find the joke funny, it's okay, because it's supposed to be more functional than funny, and I'll explain that in a bit. In a sense, the dad was right. The generic word for all boats in Samoan is va, or waka and vaka in other Polynesian languages. And so it's fair and correct to say that all canoes are boats, but not all boats are canoes. The canoe focus thus far, and in one or two other upcoming videos, is intentional, because our word Komakau and Taumatau has its etymology and origin with and from, wait for it, the canoe. Let me go ahead and analyze the semantics of Taumatau or Taumatau. I'll start with the first part, the first free morpheme, which is tau or kau, and say that tau is perhaps one of the most versatile words in the Samoan language. It can be a standalone or freestanding word. It can function as a prefix or at the beginning of a word, as an affix within a word, and also as a suffix at the end of a word. As a standalone, here are two of its most common meanings. First, as price or cost of something. What is the price or cost of your car? Oleale tau o lau Agavale. Second is weather, as in climate. How's the weather there? Wa maile tau ina. Now, as a prefix, we have tauloto. These are just examples. Tauloto is to recite or a recitation. As an affix, whiwha tau wa inga means trade, as in international trade of exports and imports. And as a suffix, we have va tau, which means at war with. Ukraine is at war with Russia. Oloolo va tau, Ukraine, Malusia. And how about tau as both a prefix and a suffix in the same word? Is that possible? Can we think of one? Yes. Taumatau, Taumatau. And that's the versatility of tau. Well, let's dive right in, shall we? Okay, we have our magical canoe. And by the way, one of the common meanings of tau is a prefix, means to reach or arrive. But tau, as a prefix again, specifically in the canoe and boat context, means side. So tau is side. And side also in Samoan means itu or pito. And they also apply to the canoe, as you'll see in a moment. So with tau meaning side, let me go ahead and label the sides of the canoe, both in English and Samoan. English first. And English because there are some universal boating nuances and commonalities that are relevant in the overall Samoan analysis. And so we'll start with the bow. The front, the stern, of the back, the left side, and by the way, we call this the floater side or the outrigger. In Samoan, it's called the ama, AMA. But in English, it's the port side. The right side of the canoe in English is starboard. And starboard has a profound significance in the Samoan analysis. That's going to be in the upcoming video. Okay, so we have a bow, starboard, stern, and port side. Now let's go to our Samoan meanings here. The bow, the front, is taumua. Tau against side. Mua means first, forward, front. And this is the back side is tau taumuli. The port side, the ama side. Now we bring in this one, this word here, itu, and often referred to as itu yama. That means the side of the ama. Now, let me go out on a limb, so to speak, maybe go out on the ama, and say that this side here, if it hadn't been called as such in the past, this should be called tau ama, in following the linguistics pattern of Taumua, Taumuli, Tauama. Yeah, logically, sensibly, coherently, it should be. Because this side here, the right side, guess what? This is your Tau Matau side. This is your right side. And often referred to as in Itu Yama, Itu Imatau. Itu Imatau, Itu Imatau. That's a U right there. Itu Imatau. Now you know the origin of Taumatau, but that's only part of the story, because we still have Matau or Macau that still needs to be considered and analyzed and scrutinized. And since it's a subject that is worthy of its own separate video, stay tuned and watch for that upcoming and follow-up video on Macau, Matau. Well, we finally get to explain our left hand or left side, Tauagavale. Let me put the word up again here. Tauagavale. Which basically means Tau side. Anga means behavior, and Vale. Now I have to be careful here. I don't want to offend anyone, but let me use a euphemism here in this case. Vale means not as skillful in this context on the right or left, right hand, left hand. And also the Samoans refer to the right hand as the limapoto, or literally the smart hand. That leaves this hand with not as skillful. That's basically it. That's the etymology or the origin of this the left side, left hand. Itu Tauagavale, or again Tauagavale can always use just Agavale, the short. Not so with Taumatau. Taumatau you always have to use the complete and the complete word. Tauagavale you can say Itu Agavale or Itu Tauagavale, Lima Agavale or Lima Tauagavale. Taumatau is just you have to again use the complete word. Itu Taumatau, Itu or Lima Taumatau, Itu Taumatau. Unless, of course, you refer to the canoe where you have to use Itu Imatau. But again, more on that in the upcoming video. Let me throw in a bonus here and talk briefly about the canoes of Samoa. Now, I'm not going to talk about the other types of boats, the longer boats of Samoa, the Fautasi and the Tulula. Those have been used in the past for travels. Now they're used for races, especially on national days and celebrations like Independence Days. But these are the two. These are the workhorses of the ocean for the Samoans. First, the papau, and I'm talking about the traditional native canoes. Today, the Samoans use mostly the more modern types of boats built with more modern materials with an outboard motor. But the Samoans used these, and they still being used, especially in the outlying islands and villages today. So the papau is the very simple canoe, often hewn out of a single log. Also, the inside, the hull, right there, it's all open from taumua to taumuli, or the bow to stern. And it's mainly for shallow water fishing, especially in the lagoon. But these are also the canoes, the training canoes, especially for the young boys. When I was growing up, we would take these and just go leisure canoeing. We call them folaulau. But at the same time, they are your so-called training wheels. And so this is the first time you would learn how to steer or paddle a canoe with this in the lagoon. And hopefully when you grow up, become a more skilled fisherman, then you graduate to the va'alo. Va, boat, alo means to paddle. And this is intended for deep sea fishing. It's built to withstand the swells and the big waves of the open ocean. And they're mainly used for what they call a tulinga atu. Atu is the bonito, the smaller version of tuna. And so tulinga atu literally means to chase after the bonitos, the atu. It's often a two-seater, although when I was growing up, there were one-seater va'alos. And that's where it's got its other name from, Nofoalua. Nofoalua means two seats. This Nofoalua, the va'al, because that's two seats. Also, the front and back, the bow and the stern, they're covered permanently, and then you have your space underneath for storage. These are called puoso for storage of fish, especially the bonito, which tends to flip a lot and keep them from flipping out of the canoe. Often they will build splash guards in front here. Just mentioning some of the differences between the two. Splash guards or wave whackers in the front on the deck of the bow of the canoe. And so those are your two main canoes. The traditional expression for alagaupu segment, and to continue this canoe subtext, it goes like this. Ole a'o Oloolo pito va. O te leo Oloolo pito ama. Or, o te fia Oloolo pito va. O te le fia Oloolo pito ama. Oloolo means to rub up against something, to get close to something. And so the expression says, I want to approach you on the side of the boat, boat side to boat side, instead of boat to wama. Now, let me digress here, and then I'll come back to the expression. This concept of va, or relationship among the Samoans, is very important. There's several vas among the Samoans, whether within the family, in the village, or district, and even the whole of Samoa. And those vas, those relationships, are always governed by certain rules and etiquette, or rules of conduct, or manners, or behavior. There are values that also dictate how you behave in those relationships. And the goal of those relationships, those vas, is to minimize that space, which is va, that space, whether it's between you and somebody, or between families, between villages. That space, that va, needs to be as minimal as it can get. And only then you would become more mutual, cordial, respectful, and have the dialogue, or settle maybe a difference, etc. Now, let's go back to the canoes, because this expression, Oloolo pito va, Oloolo pito ama, the setting is out in the ocean, and two fishermen. You can still also imagine this is the scenario, the case. And he's on his canoe, you're on your canoe. Well, let's use those two canoes right there. Exactly that configuration. He's on his canoe, you're on the papa. And he, maybe he's in trouble, is not feeling well, or he wants you to come over and fix something, work on fixing maybe a fish hook or another fishing implement. And even better, maybe he wants or you want to go over and say, hey, let's have a snack and then continue fishing. So you'd have to cut up a fish that you've caught so far. And the only way that you can available to you that you can approach him so that you're right next to each other and have this, whether dialogue or sharing or fixing something or helping him because he's not feeling well, is for you to, again, be side to side. And that mean boat side to boat side. Not ama to ama, as in here. Not only it's risky because these amas can get tangled and break, and then your canoes will sink. You'll be in big trouble. But you still have this distance between you and that other fisherman, that other person. And if you're eating, if he's cutting up the fish and sharing with you, he's going to toss things over. You're on this side. That's not a good way to share fish, right? You throw things at each other. Or he's throwing the fish to you. And again, even also if you bring your canoe here and face the same direction, you would be boat to wama contact. And again, you still have this distance. And the goal, again, with these relationships, these vas, is to minimize the space between you and the other person so that you can be in a kind of a mutual, respectful contact or relationship. So the only way to do that is to paddle your canoe, your papao, come around and face the opposite direction, and that'll put you right next to the person. And so the metaphor here is pitova, oloolo pitova. Your pitova and your va is coming and rub against each other. Then now you have close contact. Now you can just hand over that fillet and that have your yoka. You know how the Samoans eat the fish out at sea. You just dip it in the ocean and eat it. See, and so that va is now very close, and that's the meaning of this oloolo pitova. Aere oloolo pitoma, because again, pitoma is you're keeping your distance. Oloolo pitova is really up close, and have this again cordial, respectful, mutual relationship. When I about 2 or 3 years ago, I wrote, composed, and even recorded my own version of the VE of Lalomanu. It's on my channel. And that's the first line in that song, in that V. It goes like this. Samoa o te oloolo pito va'a, o te le oloolo pito ama, ai se ia u aisa ole aleanga. Now, those 2 lines says, Samoa, I want to, oloolo pito va'a, I want to come close, and then I'll cut up the fish, the aleanga, and have aleanga, and that's a topic, a subject for another video in the future. I will go into detail and explain what aleanga means, and basically it's a secret eating by fishermen, and that's what that line says. I say aisa leia ole aleanga. That means aisa means to cut up the fish and then share it, and so use that in your next launga. When you approach, o te manatu o te o laule oloolo pito ama, o te fia oloolo pito va, a meisa tātou whātasinga, Nilava, Tatu Maftanga, Nilvaso, Matango Fie, Oloolo Pitova, not Oloolo Pitoma. Okay, our song for this episode, very familiar song, and it's a contemporary song. Still popular. I think it was made popular on some by Dave Parker. It's a Sauia Oilo Wau, very straightforward parting song, love song. Again, as I said, it's a parting song. One lover is saying farewell to the other. And Sauia Oilo Wau, come now, my beloved. Olo Pelasili, my dearest. Ole ata te te am whatofa. We will now part and say goodbye. Ole alofa mo oe ele uma. The love or my love for you will never end. Ia whaile mawasa ilo tawa. Let it be an ocean between us. The chorus. Tō whala pele, goodbye, my dear, my sweetheart. Manatua mai pea o itanei. Still remember me. Malingi o loimata. I shed tears, I cry tears. Ao malipo, day and night. O se mea a whaingata. Oh, what a painful thing. O le moe e mapu tinga, to sleep with pain. A wero o whātue. Oh, my heart. Ane a pe. Wero o whātue ne a pe. It's going to stop beating. And so, again, as I said, it's very straightforward, very typical love song. So let me go ahead and try play and sing it. Again, I still have this cold, so excuse my vocals. My version of Sauia Oloolo. Sauia Oloolo, Olau pele sile. Ole ata te a whātofa. Ole alofa mo ele uma. Ia whai le mawasa ilo tawa. Mana tua mai peo itane malingi o loi mata au malepo I le pa o se mea whaingata o le moe mapu itinga oe lo whātue ne ape tō whalau pele mana tua mai pea o itanei malingi o loi mata au malepo I le pa o le moe e mapu I tinga Aue lo ufatu ne ape Aue lo ufatu ne